Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us on our 6th Friday Friendly. This week we will be talking about gender equality. And here to join us on the chat today is Councillor Sara Jones, youth worker Gavin Breen, Erica from Sports Development Team, Erica Wilson from Sports Development Team, Abby Cook from the Youth Service and myself, and we will be here to answer some of your questions. We welcome questions and interactions throughout the live. The entire session, we will be able to see comments and questions popping up in the chat bar, and that's kind of going to direct our conversation for the day. If you're experiencing any problems with your computer, please pause it for a second, let it buffer, and if it still doesn't work, leave your questions in the Q&A before signing off, because we still will get around to answering them, and that means you can watch it on a replay. We will try and answer all the questions we can from the live, and if we can't answer them, we'll just let you know that we can't answer them, and we'll say we'll go away and we will find out answers for you, and we'll get all of that onto our social media. Talking of social media, we'll put in our chat box the link to our link tree where you can find our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and any of the latest information that we've been passing out today. Cool. So I think it would be good to get started. So if everyone's okay with it, I'm going to let you introduce yourselves a little bit more on the chat. Who wants to go first? Give us a wave. I will pick on you. Go on, Abby.
So I'm Abby. I'm a youth worker for Mon Life. I work in mainly the Monmouth area, but I'm also been out of Chepstow School and trying to run a few provisions in Chepstow. So yeah, I think I'm just on this chat to hopefully empower for young people in gender equality and to sort of pursue whatever you want to do, regardless of gender identity or any of those sort of things. So that's hopefully my role and how we're going to get involved in a few chats. So I will pick on our nominee, Erica.
Thanks, Abby. So I'm Erica from the Sports Development Team. I work mainly in Chepstow, working on getting people hooked on sport, and hopefully they'll have a sporting pathway throughout their life and feel fit and fabulous for their life. Okay?
Fab. Who's next? Do you want to pick on somebody, Erica?
Oh, will we introduce Gavin?
Hi, how you doing? I'm Gavin. I'm a youth worker. I work primarily in Caldicot and Chepstow on the Shift project, supporting young people's mental health. I also run a group called Quality Street, which I'm sure we'll touch on later in this, so I won't bang on about it now and pass over to Sara.
Thank you, Gavin. I'm Sara. I'm a county councillor at Monmouthshire County Council. I'm also director of the Welsh Retail Consortium, so it's been a really busy day for me dealing with the shops and the government announcements. I'm a mum of 2 little kids, both in primary school, and I'm really passionate about sport and participation. I'm a club volunteer and a coach at a sports club, and I'm just really keen to hear people's viewpoints and just learn, really, and that's something that's really important to me, is to learn from everyone on this call, and any questions to try and help reflect decisions are made at a council level.
Brilliant. Thanks, Sara. So one of the reasons why this topic has come about is because it was chosen for our Make Your Mark ballot. So the Youth Council got together and they started to break down what gender equality kind of meant for them in Monmouthshire. So if I go over some of the titles, maybe we can skim over them during the chat or give you food for thought on the questions that you want to ask us. So one of the first things that came up was period poverty, and making sure that all young people, not just girls, are educated and understand them. The second was the history of feminism, like why the movement for International Women's Day has been around. Sports was the third one. So we know that Sports can be different for boys and girls in schools. Sexism and how to respond was another topic of their choice. So we kind of want to create a safe space for young people to explore this topic and talk about it. And then we wanted to address the consequences of not talking about it. That's kind of like an overview of that vote. So first of all, I'd like to invite anybody who has any questions to pop it in the chat. And I want to hear from us lot what's happened with International Women's Day in times gone by in previous years. Maybe we could start the talk off with that and why we do that. I'm happy to go first if you want. I know that in Monmouth school previously we've ended up having a celebration of women event in the school, and when we do that we kind of go through all the different types of jobs that women stereotypically don't go for, and encourage young people to explore that and take part in that. But I think that can go both ways really, can't it? There are stereotypically girls, gendered jobs for everyone that everyone can do. Somebody cut in and help me here. Go on, Sarah.
Yeah, I've always been a big supporter of International Women's Day. I know every day we should be celebrating women's achievements and equality, but it's been a really good opportunity for me when I've gone to events, like I spoke at Chepstow School, I spoke at Caldecott School, and just explaining why I got involved in politics, because one of the reasons why I did was because there's not making roles, and certainly not in local government, it's not diverse. And another driver for me was because of mental health. I wanted to talk about my experiences with mental health, and how that wanted me, encouraged me to be able to speak. But similarly, like I said earlier, I've been able to learn a lot from the people that attend those events. So I think they're a really good opportunity to showcase some of the good work that's happening.
Yeah, totally agree. I thought you'd be able to say that a lot more eloquently than I. Those who are watching in the chat, please, if you've had any experience or any positive experiences of things that have happened for International Women's Day in times gone by, would you let us know? Would you share that with us? Like, is there anything that's been particularly inspiring or not? Or do you think then, if you haven't had that, what could we do in the future? That's kind of where I'm gonna say that. So let's move on a little bit to equality in schools. I'm going to try on that topic until we get some comments in. So we know that it's quite a topic to in the sports department, isn't it, Erica? I'm going to pick on you. I know that that's like kind of the first place where this topic comes up. Would you say?
Yeah, like we've done a lot of work within schools to try get the same sport across the board for everyone. We had last year, or just prior to COVID, a lot of young females say they would like to play rugby in Chepstow, and they felt because it wasn't offered to them, it was only offered to the boys teams, they felt it's really unfair. So off the back of that, we brought them along to basically a rookie rugby festival, which was an inspiring event run by the Dragons. So the Dragons,
Yes,
massive event across Gwent. So schools came along and could trial out touch rugby, tag rugby, and taught a little bit on contact rugby, which is really interesting. And they also got to have a go at wheelchair rugby, and they got to talk to female players who play at local and national level, which I found inspiring, because for young women and for young boys, I think we need to see people in places go to, because if those people aren't in those, we can't be inspired and we can't be motivated. So I think that was pretty awesome to be able to do, and that's just one example. If I'm honest, I'm probably going off on a tangent, on a rugby tangent, but yeah, no, it was a really, really positive experience. And there's a girl, Alex Donovan, she plays for the Welsh international team, and she's actually has done a lot about making it aware for females that it's not just a sport for male as well, which I think is important. Like you were saying about the job roles, everyone should have an opportunity to do whatever job or whatever sport they wish to do.
Yeah.
But they need to have the people in those places. They need to have those people to look up to, essentially.
We do have a
across
question.
the board. Yeah.
We've got, how do you start a girls rugby club? They want to start one in Abergavenny, so how could they go about that?
Amazing. So what we would do is we would probably put on taster sessions in the leisure centre. We have rugby union coaches and we have rugby league coaches. So depending on what type of rugby they want to play, we could do taster sessions in the leisure centre or go out to the schools and do taster sessions throughout the primary schools, get the interest going, maybe host rugby festival, and off the back of that there would be an interest of people involved in rugby, and we could facilitate them going to a club. If they don't have a club already, we can facilitate from sports development how they would get funding to start up a club. So there is lots of options there, but if they want to chat about it properly, there's lots more we can do. So it's trying to get the interest. So we would start taster sessions, see how popular it is with surveys, then go and look for funding for the people who would like to start up the club and run it, because there's a lot of cost in the background to set up a club officially.
So would we contact you directly, or would we contact?
Yes. Yeah. You can contact myself or anyone on the sports development team. So if you want to pop my email in the chat, that's absolutely fine.
Cool. Fab. So we've got another message coming in. It says, we started a girls football team, but we were told that we could only have it if we did well in the league, and then COVID happened. Oh, it's more of a statement, it's not a question, but what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. My thoughts on that are that's a lot of pressure on a football team, first of all. Football, any sport, should be fun. Any coach who's running a team should embrace inclusion and participation. So they want people to feel part of a team, you know, sense of belonging, and have fun. Yes, you should have physical activity, but fun is the main element that's going to keep someone involved in sport. I'd be interested to know what football team that was. But hopefully post-COVID, and when sporting events do come back in, your team will be back playing. I'd love to see that happen. I hope that answered that.
Let us know, even if it's directly or in the chat. Do you think there's any, I want to ask the audience, do you think there's any other areas within, for young people in Monmouthshire, that we could improve gender equality? Is there, you know, ways that it needs to be addressed that we're not aware of? I'm sure joining today, you've probably got thoughts on that. And whilst you're thinking about that question, I would like to invite Gav to talk about Equality Street and what they do, if you don't mind. Are you happy to?
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, pre-COVID, I had a group that would run every week at the Zone Youth Centre in Caldicott called Equality Street. We worked on our basis was off the 9 protected characteristics. Please don't make me list them because I don't have them to hand. So basically, the last project we worked on was the Pride event that happened in Caldicot Castle, which then turned into the Diversity Festival. Hopefully anyone that's watching has attended one of these. So yeah, it's slowed down obviously with COVID happening, but we're starting back up. And yeah, we're looking for new members. I think we're going to be meeting on Fridays. I'll have to double check that, but I'll be advertising it online when we do start back up properly. And yeah, it's anything really. We have no set agenda. I'm guided by yourselves. We have lots of different projects. So Pride is obviously our main one. We also worked on things around religion. Oh, sorry, Jade just posted that. So thanks Jade. The 9 protected characteristics are age, disability, gender reassignment, marriage and civil partnership, pregnancy and maternity, race, religion or belief, and sex. So obviously this topic is a biggie for us. We obviously don't have all the answers, but we're happy to work and make anything better as and when we can, really. So yeah, that's pretty much what we do. Hopefully that's answered everything.
Yeah, it's cool. It is a really good group and it has been running for quite a while now, and I think I'd love to encourage more people to get involved in that. I know that gender reassignment and has been a hot topic of late, and I know that that's going to be one of our Friday Friendlies in the future, which is why we're not going to merge it with today's chat, but I just thought I'd bring it up that, you know, that would be a great place to channel all of that kind of information. Okay, so we haven't had anything yet in the chat, but I would like to encourage you all to get involved. I want to know what's been happening with you locally, basically. I'm wondering if anybody on the chat or on the group has anything that they want to contribute, that they want to talk about. Yeah, Gav.
Yeah, so we're obviously talking about gender equality, and I'm obviously like the only man on this, so I just wanted to bring a little bit of a male perspective, I guess, because it does happen to men as well. I'm not. This is like positive discrimination, so I'm not really complaining. I'm just highlighting it. So I'm a single dad. My wife passed away a few months ago, and I've got 2 young kids by myself. And stuff has happened, like I've been in a shop and I've had my kids with me, and I was saying this the other day about how I had like a lane opened up for me for shopping. So I stood there, I was holding my daughter and my son, and there was a lane. These women ushered me over. They're like, "Oh, we'll look after you." Opened up the lane, did my shop. I said, "You don't need to do this. You know, it's fine. I can wait like everyone else." And they were sort of like, "Oh, you babysitting the kids today?" I was like, "No, I'm just parenting. They're my children. You know, doing as parents do." So yeah, like as a man, I sort of get that as if I don't have as much responsibility or stuff to do with my kids, when in fact I am the sole provider and carer for my children. So that kind of positive discrimination, in a way, it happens, you know. So it's not always typically a female issue either. So it's just something I think I'm sure we can all talk about stuff that's happened to us in the past, but I thought it was a good place to start.
Fab, thank you. That is a good place to start. That does really help. Does anybody have any examples of gender equality, inequality the other way round to counter that? Any examples? Don't worry if you haven't got. Oh, hello, Abby.
No, yeah, it's all right. I'm not going to speak too much about examples because I'm sure men and women, we are very familiar with the examples. So I don't want to like go too much down that route, but I think it tied in nicely with like the empowerment side of this chat, and that there was and this is how I try and think of it, and it sort of explained it quite nicely. Is that I think it was Meghan Markle was said, I don't know what year she said it, but it was recently. She said, we don't need to give women a voice because women have a voice. They've always had a voice. They just need to be encouraged to use it. And I think that kind of encapsulates what we talk about when we mean equality. Like, we're not saying women need to have more of a say than men. We're not saying that women are up here compared to men. Women just need to be encouraged. And like, I don't want to get too political, because as like everyone who's watching it, everyone who's on the chat knows a big thing that's gone on at the moment, Garden Police and females and all that. I don't want to get into that, but I think when we encapsulate equality, it's very much about it is equality. Yeah, it is about us feeling encouraged to use our voice as much as men are, and being us on that same par. So when it comes to this kind of chat and things like that, like Gavin said, men have their sort of prejudice that they face and stereotypes, and it's about encouraging everyone equally to, like Erica said, be involved in sports. When it comes to schools and everything, we just feel like everyone, and men being able to voice emotions and feel like they're confident in expressing emotions and not feeling that they have to be the strong ones all the time. Like, it's putting us on that level. I think that's the ultimate goal, isn't it? That we are all equal in that. So yeah, that's what I've got to say on it, really. But I just think that quote really summed it up quite nicely when I saw that.
I'm going to throw it back to you now with this, Abby, but I really liked our chat last week when you were talking about the apples. I'm wondering if you would want to explain that at all. Or I would give it a go, but I'll probably ruin it.
No, I'll give it a go. So yeah, I think it was me, Gavin, I think, first saw this when it kind of came to race. But I think it can be, it's a good analogy for the whole board, really. So it's kind of imagined like an apple tree, and there's exactly the same amount of apples on each side of this apple tree, but the way it's grown is that one's a lot lower than the other. So the ultimate goal is you can all access the same amount of apples, everyone's entitled to the same amount, but this side needs a bit of a bigger ladder to get up there than this side. So I think things like that, like International Women's Day, like feminism, they are all strands of that ladder to get us to be able to achieve that same thing, really. So that's how I try and think of it in my mind.
Cool. We have got a question in the chat. It's quite a difficult one, I think, to answer, but we can give it a go. So why does gender equality stuff not usually include trans or non-binary people? Let's have a little think about that one, shall we, before we go straight into it.
I don't have the answer, but I can start to try, I guess. So in my group, I have several trans and non-binary members. I mean, when you say, from the members that I personally know, the trans young people, they want to be identified as the gender that they've chosen. So to be honest, like for me as like a practitioner, then I just call them by that pronoun. I don't think of them as trans. I think of them as what they've asked to be referred to as. And the same in regards to non-binary people as well. It's a difficult one. There obviously needs to be more work done towards it across the board. We try our best. It obviously just needs more work. Feel free to come along to Equality Street, and actually if whoever has posted that wants to come along and maybe guide us a bit. We're all learning, we're all willing to be educated. I've been so educated over the last couple of years of running Equality Street. I had no idea, but I think it's just people need to be more educated, and that's what we're trying to do as a group. So if you have any tips, please come along, have your say, and we'll help you push that message out.
It's one of those things, isn't it, that the more we give it a go, the more we try, the more we further it, the better things can get over time. What about this kind of ties in a lot with sports, doesn't it, Erica? I don't know if there's anything that you would like to bring up about that point now or chat about. I know that there's different rulings around sport, isn't there? We were discussing that it sometimes could be harder to make equal.
Yeah, and I think it's a tricky one. It all depends on the person themselves and where they identify, and because unfortunately sports are divided against its male and female teams or events, if it's athletics. So it should be people where you identify is where you should participate in. And unfortunately, at the moment, it's not quite there, and it comes down to the physiological development of the body and muscle adaptation to playing, and if that's to keep the level field, it's a lot of work that needs to be done in, and a lot of more research needs to be done to make it fair for everyone to play. I hope that answers.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I don't know, actually, I can't speak on behalf of their questioning, but thank you for that.
That's
We've got
okay.
another question. How can we make our feminism intersectional? Sectional, oh God, it's happened. Intersectional. I don't know if I understand the question. Sorry.
I think it's just chipping in from the background here. I think it's just sort of talking about like overlapping, like, you know, race overlapping with being female, or sexuality overlapping with being female. I think that's what it means.
Yeah. I know that when we were chatting with our group from E2C, they had some really interesting topics on intersectional feminism. I didn't feel confident enough to talk about, like, I didn't know enough. I know that they know more than me about this topic, so it's a case of, I suppose, talking about it and educating our people around us. Well, you don't have to be your peers, they can be your youth workers, because I'm learning so much on that sort of thing. I know that there's a lot of YouTube videos out at the moment in terms of that, but I haven't got an answer for you on that one. I'm really sorry. I'll find out more and post about it. Does anybody want to come in on that one? Abby? Oh.
You can do Sara first if Sara's got something to say. I was going to just reiterate what Jade said.
Perhaps.
But
Sara?
Yeah, go on, Sara.
Yeah, and I'm no expert and I wouldn't have the answers, but I think a lot of what I try to do when I'm supporting other women and underrepresented groups is try to understand the links to the challenges that they face. So it's understanding, for example, that women, the link between, say, poverty and women, the link to caring responsibilities, and how that all intertwines and then creates the problems that they have in their lives. So it's trying to unpick all that and make sure we get to the root causes of the challenges that they're bound by because of their gender, but it leads to other issues, as I say, linked to, you know, whether it be maternity, for example, maternity pay and the impact that has then on a woman and her ability to return back to the workplace. So it's unpicking it all. And it's all about working in partnership to get that to happen. It's not just being a core group of people who deal with it. It's trying to understand that that decision that you're making is going to go much wider than just the core, you know, your core audience, if you like.
Thank you very much. It is a huge topic, gender equality, and I think it's something that it can't be just done and dealt with in a Friday Friendly. This is kind of an opportunity to find out where we're at with it, really, and understand like how much or how little we know, and it can be a good springboard for getting more change within Monmouthshire. I would like to encourage anybody to put in the chat some ideas that they have to take forward, some things that they want us to go away and look at and find out a bit more on, or any campaign kind of stuff that they want us to work with. I know that all of this will be shared with our youth council to drive it forward, basically. I did have my next. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about next. Is the period poverty was one of the key points on our Make Your Mark, and I know that there's a lot of things happening within Monmouthshire around that. I'm wondering, do you know much, Sara, about what's going on? Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, I can do. A couple of years ago, I knew it was an issue, and it was something that was being picked up by a number of charities and other campaigners. I think it's Plan International. We're doing a lot of work on this. So what we did is we went and surveyed all girls and comprehensive students. We probably should have gone for primary schools as well, you know, in hindsight, but we were looking at a specific age group just to try and get a sort of feel for what the challenges were. Obviously totally anonymised the studies, but it was just to try and understand, was period poverty an issue for you, and what challenges did it present, and what could we do as a council to alleviate that problem. And a lot of it wasn't just around the sort of poverty aspect, it was also around the challenges they face in terms of stigma and other things around periods and people not talking about them in schools early enough and that sort of thing. So in terms of how we've addressed it, you know, there's a lot there in the curriculum now, and that's really good, but also sanitary products to be available for all schools, and all schools have access to that to enable if they're in need for them. So this still works, is something that we're obviously very much keen to address.
Fab, thanks. I think your video is breaking up a little bit there, so sorry about that. I know that I probably would cut in and say as well that you haven't got long with us, have you? I know that you'll be leaving soon, shorter than the time that we've got. So I want to, before you go, I want to say thank you for being on the chat. So we've got a comment in the Q&A, and it says, our school only give out tampons and pads at reception. So there was like, I know that young people have been looking at different, and services have been looking at different ways to distribute period items, and schools are doing it all differently, I believe. But it'd be interesting to ask you guys what you would like to, what would you like to be done, and how would you like them to be distributed? Give us a message. Getting stuck here. So yeah, we're looking to you for answers to that. I know that in the past, like the Youth Council have come up with the idea of similar to the condom scheme, which is like a P card for period, or red card. And I know that I've seen in other towns they've had. Oh, I remember going to a town once where we went to the public toilets, and on the back of the public toilet door was a poster saying, if you need anything like that, then you can go to, like, you know, different, it was like the pharmacy and Boots and all sorts of places. So they've managed to get like the community involved, giving them away for free. So yeah, but if there's any other different ways of getting them, let us know. I know that the youth centres have them for free in the bathrooms. We place them out, and it's kind of like a help yourself thing. And that kind of leads nicely onto the conversation that we were having about how we need to start including boys in the education of periods, because we know that in the youth centre there was some issues with people like playing with them, taking them apart, you know, and I know that one of our youth workers sat them down. Was it you, Gav? And had a word. Yeah, had a word with them and explained to them like how important it is that they don't do that. So that was quite cool. Does anybody have anything that they want to contribute on that topic?
Could it be that the schools kind of leave pads and tampons available in the bathrooms, available for the pupils, so they don't have to go and ask for them, they're just there, you know, because I know that can create a lot of embarrassment where it shouldn't create embarrassment, you know, like it's a natural thing. So it, you know, it's you know, it just provides something there for someone when they're in need, rather than you know, feeling a bit awkward about it when they shouldn't. I also think they should be there for in dressing rooms, changing rooms, for people when they're getting changed, for sporting events, anything like that, because if you don't have any pads or tampons on you, it might prevent you from going for your swimming or your your whatever sport you're doing, you might feel a bit self-conscious if you don't have anything, so why shouldn't it be there? I mean, it's a need, it's not a luxury,
Definitely.
That would be my thought on that.
It is a need, and I think that if it was available for all, then one of the questions that came up was about it being in both boys and girls toilets as well, so having the products available for anybody who's transitioning. I thought that was a really good idea. Yeah. But why not?
That's actually really, yeah.
Why not make it
really clever?
Thank you for posting in the chat. We've got. I would just go to a friend and get some from a friend. Yeah, that's quite good. Here's a good way to do it if you've forgotten or been caught short. Yeah, we are looking at ways in terms of improving that service for those who need them on the regular. I know that there's some fab products as well out that are sustainable and that are reusable. So I know that you can get them from schools as well, but not everybody's into those kind of products. Anyway, moving away from the topic of periods, is there anything that our viewers want us to chat about? Is there anything that you think we've missed that you want to bring? Okay. We have got one that I've missed. I'm really sorry. I'm going to publish. I don't know how to publish that. So, Sara, are you happy to answer the sexism and systematic issue? Am I reading that right?
Yeah, I'll come in briefly.
Do you want me to read?
Then I'm really sorry, but
do you want me to read the question first?
From our government. Do you want to read it? Yeah.
Yeah. Because sexism is a systematic issue, and the patriarchy impacts everyone, no matter where they lie on the gender spectrum. How do you suppose we centre positive change around changing the systematic way women are often put down? That is, the relation to that often gender equality is linked to wanting the tax off period products. Sorry, my English, I was never any good at reading out loud in school. Tax off period products, for instance, but not addressing the reason why policies like these still exist against women. Ta-da. Sara.
No, it's a really good question, and I think just you could unpick that and have a day's worth of discussion on that one question. But from my perspective, the way we deal and break down systemic challenges that we have in society is into positions where they can make those differences and make those changes. So whilst we might have policies in place, pre-existing policies which negatively impact on women, it's about women being in those positions to be able to change them and rewrite the legislation and rewrite the policy to make sure that they are equal for all, not just women, but on this case I'm talking about women and sexism. So we know that when you have more women and a more balanced democracy, like you look at New Zealand, where you've got a fantastic female, you often see the policies then of society, and that way I think, and I'd always really encourage and empower.
We've got terrible signal. I'm going to throw me up. You've got a really, really brilliant point in there, Sara, about empowering young people to be a part of democracy and be a part of the change. Like, I really like that message that you're trying to give us, but I know that the internet is not on our side today, so sorry about that, and I hope you can come on before you leave, but if you can't, then we understand. But yeah, I'm going to reiterate what Sara just said then, is that the way that we can systematically change things is to get more women into politics. Any thoughts, any questions? Do you want us to talk about anything else? Have I missed anything? And does anybody want to jump in after me? I'm happy to keep waffling. No, I'm just going to have a little look at what other things that we've brought up before.
There's a question that's just come up, and So it says, would it be better to remove the tabooness about it instead of trying to mitigate it, e.g. by making P-card schemes? Yes, yes. But so again, I'm not qualified in answering this, but if I was to kind of put my view on how I'm seeing it at the moment and how I rationalise it, unfortunately, as it stands, all these conversations, which I think the conversations we're having at the moment is incredible. Like the amount of change just coming up and seems to be coming up a lot more frequently is amazing. And I think that's a credit to the generations to come. So we can see change happening, but I try and see it as, unfortunately, we probably will have to have these conversations with our daughters or our sons, and but hopefully they won't have to have it with their grandchildren, and they won't have to have it with their grandchildren. It almost seems that we are addressing that level of tabooness, and education comes with that. And I think the fact that we're having these conversations is huge, and I'm crossing all my fingers that in time we will have to have less of these conversations, because it will just fall into place. But I think in order to do that, how we are at the minute, we need to have things like peace cards schemes in place, because we're still in the early stages of that. So that, like I said, I know that doesn't directly answer the question, and I know that hope in the future is that we'll be able to get professionals in from different areas who can directly answer your questions. But as a talking point of what this gender equality chat is, that's sort of what I feel capable of bringing forward to answer that question at the moment.
Fab, thanks, Ab. I'd like to take this minute to urge you all to get in touch with us actually, and be part of the things that we are changing within the services. We want to hear your thoughts like on a regular basis. We want to have conversation and dialogue. If you already know us and you're already engaged with us, bring it up. We have a digital support form that, for those of you who've never engaged with the youth service before, we have a digital support form online where you can get in touch, and that's kind of like how you get in. So we'll end up giving you information on what we've got going on. We've also got a link tree. Now the link tree has been put together to kind of amalgamate all of our different social medias, and I think Natasha probably put it in the chat for us. Is that okay? Fab. So on there you can get the digital support form, you can get links to this live event each week. You can get, what else have we got on the link tree? We've got Gav's chill out playlist on there. That's another thing that we've got on there. There's some cool stuff to check out. So I know that now that I've said that, the next question then is, trans and non-binary people face a lot of problems that cis people don't, but aren't included in the stats around gender equality. I'd be interested to ask back, what kind of things aren't they included in, and what statistics are we looking at here? Yeah, I don't disagree with that comment. Well, I don't know for a fact actually, so I can't disagree or agree with it. But I can see how it's come up that, yeah, they probably do get left out. Tell me a bit more. Tell me a bit more of how.
I just encourage whoever's asking these questions to come along to Equality Street, because we've all said, we're professionals in what we do, but we don't have all the answers, and stuff is overlooked and it's not right. So please, if you are up for it, I can leave my email in the chat if you want to chat to me about it or whatever, but then we can maybe create a project and draw attention to this, because it's not right. So yeah, please do get in contact. I'll leave my email in the chat now actually.
Thanks, Gav. Okay. I think we need more topic points from the audience as well. More questions. So I do have on here other ways in which we can, like, if we go back to focusing on gender equality, I wanted to ask the chat if there's any books that you would recommend reading, if you know about that would improve your knowledge of gender equality.
It's 5:15 p.m. Time to start wrapping.
Sorry about that. My Google's gone off. Yeah, books and resources and the best places to go for information in terms of gender equality. I've had a few suggestions from our youth council, which was, what was it? I'm looking on my bookshelf. What Women Don't Owe You Pretty was one of them. Another one was why I am not talking to white people about race. I know that they said that there was a section in there about race and gender equality, which is a good one. I can't think off the top of my head anymore. Can you? No. So please chuck them in the chat. Let us know. We'll have a little share. Ah, fab. Thank you, Gav, for putting that in. I was just reading that. I've gone blank now.
I would just say as well, to sort of echo what Gavin said in terms of we don't have all the knowledge and things like Equality Street being in place. I know there's a lot of stuff that we won't have covered on this chat, because I know we could be here for hours and hours and hours talking about it. But it's almost like I said, the whole point of this is to empower young people, and the point of youth work, sports development work, anything like that, that is our ultimate main goal, is to kind of let young people feel they can do what they want and be who they want and feel supported in doing that. So in terms of the stuff we can talk about, like, I apologise, and I'm sure everyone else in this chat was, that we can't answer everything and we can't have all the questions, but it's almost to let you guys know we are here to support you in things like Equality Street, where that focus is on. If we can bring anything to the table in this chat, is that we are here to allow you to have your opinions on your voices shared and to support you in that, and we want to be part of the change with you. So yeah, we might not have all the answers, so bear with us, we are trying to learn, but yeah, it's just to let all you guys know that that's hopefully our main aim, and with your support and things like that, then hopefully we can get that bit closer to doing that.
The next one we got on the Q&A, then we have, what about the pressures for different genders on social media? Anybody thought about that one?
Sorry, Jade, I missed you cut out on me.
Oh, okay. I said, what about the pressures for different genders on social media?
Why don't we just have a chat about it, because I obviously face different pressures than yourselves, so I'll ask you the question then. What sort of pressures do you feel like you have that I might not have to face? If any of you three want to answer.
Well, yeah, now that you've asked it back to me, it makes more sense. Well, it's the whole makeup side of things, looking good, filters on apps, eyelashes. Like, I could go on for days about the different things that women have to. They say that there's a money inequality in just being a woman, like in the costs of all of that sort of thing. Lotions and potions and media targeted at you for who you are.
So would you ever consider just putting a makeup-less selfie, or that's where I get lost, because obviously my Instagram is just full of my kids, to be honest, all my tattoos. So social media is what you make of it, isn't it? You can make it as niche as you want or as broad as you want. So I'm just curious of what people are actually feeling pressured to do
Now,
as well.
Now at 30, if you ask me now, I'm getting to the point where I don't care, but that has taken me some number of years and a lot of self-work. I think that's my personal experience. Abby?
I think, and this is entirely my view, as a female, as soon as Gavin said his is full of like pictures of his kids, my opinion straight away to that was, yeah, but women wouldn't get as much kind of attention, not even followers, like the kind of thing you get as a female posting selfies or pictures of a skinny body that's tanned. It would almost feel like, and again, this is almost devil's advocate, it's an equality to men, because if a male posted a photo of his kid, it's like, oh, bless him, oh, look. Whereas if a female did that, it wouldn't get the same clout, because it's not interesting. I don't know if any other female feels like that, but that was my immediate personal response, is that's not what people want to see as a female on a feed. That's not what, and the whole posting a photo without makeup, that is happening more. And I think the older I'm getting, the more comfortable I'd be in doing that. But I know to a lot of people that would be an absolute no-go. Like, no, like that's not an option.
I guess
Can I
go on.
Oh, can I ask then, like, who are you posting it for? Really, it's like, for me, I just post it. I know that everyone's social media is individual. I know that, and all these ads obviously aren't targeted at me. So I fully get that, but I just wonder what people's motivation is for posting this stuff. Is it just to get likes? Is it, like, for me, it's just, I suppose it's more of like a diary of my days out with my kids, I guess. So I'm boring old man status now, but I guess you gotta wonder why you're posting it.
For me, it's not the same as everybody else, but for me, posting, it's not about how I, like, look at me, look at the likes. Like, I couldn't even give it 2 pennies. But I wouldn't post anything of me or looking back previously unless I was dolled up to the nines, because I was just so insecure, like, genuinely. So it would cost me a fortune just being a woman to not feel insecure. Still am insecure. But they got filters these days, so it's saving me a lot of money. Anyone else?
Yeah, I do agree. Like, there is a lot of pressure for women to look a certain way on social media, and to, yeah, like, have filters and stuff. But I do think there's a lot of campaigns now out there that's kind of like, this is social media, this is real life, this is what I really look like. And I think that should be embraced more and more, and the more that's made a norm, the better. And I think that will help boost a lot of people's confidence in who they are, because I think there's a lot of things out there that you should look a certain way, do certain things, especially during lockdown. It was kind of like, oh, everyone's baking banana breads, oh, everyone's you know, doing amazing things, and if you're not doing that, it's not you know, it has an impact on you. And I think we need to filter social media, not filter us. So filter what you see, because that can impact how you feel massively. Like,
following,
I'm kind of on this. Yeah, like, if something doesn't make you feel good, why do you follow it? You have the choice to follow what you want to follow. It's your time to be on social media. It should be a positive one, and it should make you feel good. I'm very like Jade. I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm 30. I'm like, you know, I don't really care what people think of me. Like, I post up on Instagram disgusting sweaty workouts that I've just done. I'm like, here, have a go. If you want to train, this is something you can do at home if you're bored. If not, swipe, move on. You know, or I'm mad about being outside, so I'll take pictures of being outside, and that's what I do.
Similarly then to Gav, it's more about the content, it sounds like, than the look. Yeah, I think that does come with age, though. I do think there is a huge generation of younger people that, you know, for them it is important, like, and we can't take away from that, because I remember as a young person being told myself, like, why do you do it? Why do you wear makeup? Why do you, you know, take part in all of this? And I was like, because I absolutely don't want to be seen without it, you know. And so
yeah,
I don't know, it's probably about self-esteem more than anything, isn't it? And improving
and
that.
I suppose it's about being, you know, belonging, isn't it? It's like, well, everyone's into I don't know, everyone's into TikTok at the moment. So yeah, I've got TikTok on my phone, and you know, I've got all the latest dance moves to that, or I don't know, certain clothing is the most popular thing to wear, so I'm going to wear that. And I think every day like that. For me, it was Bebo. That's probably some of the audience are like, what is Bebo? But yeah, you know, and like, I remember everyone wore velour tracksuits, so I had a velour tracksuit. You know, it was beautiful. You know, but I think it's a thing with age. But I think young people should be who they are, as well as following trends. If it makes them feel good. If it doesn't make them feel good, I don't think they should be part of the trend.
Be the trend. Have fun while you're doing it and become the trend instead of following. Don't be
yeah, like
oh, sorry.
Yeah, like this. So, like, we're not dolls or we're not robots. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's actually more attractive and more beautiful just to be yourself than look like everyone else or act like everyone else.
Definitely.
And I think that comes into equality, isn't it? Being yourself, but being treated the same. So
beautiful.
I think when we, like, I know I just said it myself in response, and it follows on from Erica, but when we sort of said about posting a selfie or photo or anything with no makeup on, I think my Instagram I post twice a year maybe, like it's not that great, but how I sort of, it comes back to, well, would you ever post a selfie with no makeup on because you look bad, because you won't get as many likes and things like that, and like what other people would think. And I think it's really important to highlight, like following on from Erica, if I were to post a selfie, I wouldn't do it with no makeup on because I don't feel I look nice with no makeup on. It's like you said, I don't really, in terms of what people think about me now, I'm at an age where I don't, all right, whatever, like, it is what it is, I am who I am, but I feel my nicest when I have makeup on, and I feel my nicest when I have my hair freshly dyed or whatever. So I'm not, like, again, it comes back to being who you are, and if I want to post a photo with my makeup on, it is for me because I feel nice. It's not because I think men might like it more, and I think that's the root of it all, isn't it? The crux of the whole thing is what you do, you. Like, that's where we want to be. That's where we.
Yeah.
Question for Gav.
Sorry.
No, go on.
No, I couldn't agree more with Abby. Like, making yourself feel good about yourself and doing all those things. Like, for me, working in sport, I'm always in sports gear. I always look ready to play sport. So when I'm not in work, I'm like, I'll do my hair nice, wear nice clothes for me, and you know, it's about that. I think definitely.
I was just going to bounce it back to Gavin and say that I know that there's more media these days for men to wear, I don't know, foundations for being on screen. There's makeup and like wash kits. Do you feel any pressure at all on them currently? Have you noticed it?
I would say I probably feel more pressure to have like a 6-pack or something. It's, again, it does go back to age though, and I really feel like an old man when I'm saying like 15 years ago, you know, I'm 33. So, yeah, I feel pressure to look a certain way, I guess. But it's, as you've all said, it's just do what makes you happy. And as Erica said, like, I curate what's on, like, because I only use it, well, I do use TikTok now, but Instagram, I curate, I only follow ones that make me feel good or something I have an interest in. Like some of the ones I've been following recently, like Emily Clarkson, Jeremy Clarkson's daughter, she's been posting some really good stuff about use of social media, especially around how it is for women as well, because I'm keen to educate myself on how things are. So yeah, it's just, there are pressures, but the biggest pressure is the pressure you put on yourself, isn't it, really?
Absolutely. And I think that kind of like nicely ends our chat, really. I know that we've got 1 minute left to go, and I feel like gender equality, we've just scratched the surface. This is something that we've said time and again, like, we were going to encourage people now to get involved, let's get the conversations going, let's get Quality Street on it, and see where we can go with it. I think it's got so much potential, and we're here to help, really. That's pretty much all from us. So I would like to say thank you for those of you who joined us today. If you feel that you are affected by anything in today's conversation, please reach out to us again through all of our different mechanisms. We've got our link tree in the chat. Next week, we are kind of taking a break from the usual Friday Friendlies, and we're changing it up a bit. We're going to invite all the youth workers online on the Friday, as it's Red Nose Day. So throughout the week, we will be taking part in walks all around our county, and we will be fundraising, and we'd like to encourage you to join us on the Friday to see some of the silly challenges that we get up to. Cool. So thank you from me, and thank you everybody for joining the team today, the chat today. It's been ace. Yeah, over and out.